So Michael, as we're looking at the questions coming in, I actually have a question for you. What are the ethical concerns around using some of this AI and the data in cases like you mentioned, and really how can we address
that? AI, obviously AI ethics is a critical topic of research, of discussion, and consideration for not just banks, but for all companies, and something we at NTT Data spend a lot of time thinking about. And it's really one of the challenges is the ethical question has become somewhat commingled with a technical question of the capability of the models today. And what I tell folks is there's the ongoing technical research of do models perform, are they doing what are expected, and then are they kind of doing the right thing? And then it becomes the ethical question of should banks or should companies be using the technology in a given way for a given purpose? And is that really intended for the better good, or the individual good, or in some cases the corporate good? And that's something that needs to be factored in. And what I encourage our clients to look at is as a critical part of their model risk program. Ethics needs to play a role. I mean, obviously, ethics needs to play a role throughout the industry. But with these new models, not only is there the algorithmic element of it, but there's also the data element, and that's one of the biggest risks we see today. I get a lot of clients that come in and say, "Oh, we want to do AI, we want to do machine learning," and I quickly go to, "Well, tell me about your data." And it almost always goes to something like, "Well, it's not great. We don't really trust it. We're not sure it's complete." I say, "Okay, so here's the plan. You're going to take data that you don't really trust. You're going to put it into an algorithm that your executives may or may not understand completely. And you're going to use that to drive strategic decisioning for the company." So, you can add an ethics layer to that too. But really, my question is, so how do you think that's going to work out for you? And it invariably that comes back to, okay, maybe we got to think this through a little bit as we talk about getting into advanced algorithmics and changing the nature of the customer relationship.
Sure, absolutely. And that last point just kind of reminds me of that old adage around the data: garbage in, garbage out, from the advanced analytics standpoint. So absolutely. So we do have one other interesting question, and certainly it's an interesting study as I stated, but I found it very interesting that there wasn't a generational linkage to switching between PFIs. So do you know, or did you look at what some of those key drivers are for people switching, and really kind of how often we're seeing this happen? And is this, I guess, the new norm kind of from here on out?
I think it is. I think that's where we saw this. I talked a little bit today about the futurists. There's the other segment, which are more of the traditionalists. And so we are finding a generational element to it, in that the futurists are the ones that are willing to switch banks to get the new, better features, the better relationship. They're much more data savvy, so they're willing to engage in that kind of data interchange to get those features. And the interesting dynamic when we talk with banks about that is, this is the group that tends to have, I'll say, higher current incomes. It's a smaller demographic right now, whereas the traditionalist group is often I'll say, more senior folks that have higher accumulated wealth, so higher levels of investment. They're farther along in their careers. And so right now they make up the majority of the customers. And obviously, when you look at a bank's portfolio, it's the majority of the invested wealth is coming from that segment. And our message around that is yes, but that, like all things, is going to shift over time. And if you don't begin the journey toward more advanced use of AI and advanced analytics and data as this future segment grows bigger and bigger and bigger, because either the boomers are becoming more data and technically literate, or the other segment is just growing, you're going to be in trouble, right? Because you're going to have a growing segment that you're going to struggle to satisfy.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have. So thank you again, Michael, for presenting today.